My name is Jack. I guess you already know that. I'm a normal guy. I graduated college with a degree in marketing and went to work in sales. I love being a salesman and I make a good living. A year ago, I was promoted to general sales manager at the car dealership. I married Susie, the love of my life, soon after I graduated, and we have a 2-year-old son. When the boy was 6 months old, Susie went back to work. She had decided that motherhood was not her thing and had her tubes tied. That was okay with me. It's her body, she has the right to make that decision. She works for Jenkins Manufacturing as a secretary. 3 months ago, she was promoted to personal assistant for Paul Jenkins, a vice president and son of the owner. Now this, I called my office, and after hearing my story, my boss told me to take all the time I needed. I found out my wife of 5 years was cheating on me. How did I find out? She confessed it to me. It was after supper one night. The baby had been put to bed when she told me to sit down at the kitchen table and that we needed to talk. I want you to know that this is all your fault. If you had not insisted that I go with you to that convention in Miami last month, it would have never started, but it did. Now you are just going to have to put up with it. What the hell are you talking about? I asked. I'm having an affair with Paul. Paul, who used to be referred to as Jenkins, but now it is Paul, her boss. I try to stay calm. How is it my fault? I asked. Like I said, you insisted that I go with you. I had to ask Paul for the time off. He agreed, but only if I took a long lunch with him. That means a visit to a local motel and me letting him have intimacy with me. I never told you about him and all the gossip around the company because I did not want you to get mad and make me quit. I like working there, and jobs are scarce nowadays. He had taken long lunches with other girls, and they all commented on his manhood. He is huge. Long story short, I went, and he is an amazing lover. His size made me climax intensely. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Even when I was with you in Miami, he touches me in places you never will. After we came back from Miami, I informed him that if he ever wanted to do it again, I was ready. I've been going on long lunches with him a couple of times a week since we've been back. You unfaithful woman! I will not put up with you cheating. You better get an attorney because I am going to file, I answered. Calm down and just listen for a few minutes. First, this thing with Paul will end. He goes with a girl for 5 or 6 months, then he finds another one. I'll be transferred to another department and get a raise to boot. This is not interfering with us. I still make love to you anytime you want. It's just a work thing. I think it is more of a big size thing. Work has nothing to do with it. Secondly, you are not going to divorce me. This is a no-fault state. I'd get the house, you'll pay the mortgage, I'll get alimony since you make a lot more than me, and you'll pay child support for the next 20 years. You will also pay the boys' tuition at a private school. You will live in a shabby apartment and eat TV diners because you can't afford to go out. Paul will drop me, and I'll find another big size for intimacy. I may even let the new one move in with me to help with the boy. Oh, you'll see your son. Every weekend while I go out clubbing. Then for a week in the summer while I vacation in Vegas or cruise the Caribbean with one of my lovers. So forget divorce and just roll with it. I did forget about divorcing the unfaithful woman, but I did not roll with it. It was the next week when she walked out of the bathroom naked as the day she was born that I saw them, the hickeys. There, a 2 on each breast. She stood in front of me as I sat on the bed. Paul wanted to mark me as his, so I let him. I told him that you knew about us and you are fine with it. I want you to know that we are thinking about inviting you to one of our long lunches. I think it would be fun watching your face as he pounds me. I am not fine with you cheating, and watching is not going to happen, I replied. Don't be so sure. Remember, no fault. I can divorce you and this will still end up the same. Don't worry. You are not getting sloppy seconds. Seconds, yes, but sloppy, no. I douched, then sat in a hot bath. I should be all cleaned out. I did make love to her that night. The next morning at breakfast, she told me that next week Paul and she would be attending a conference in San Diego and that I should make arrangements for the boy. They would leave on Wednesday morning and be back Sunday night. They would be staying at the Marriott. San Diego is on the border with Mexico. That gave me an idea. 6 years ago, I had worked late one night. As I drove home, I witnessed a car run a red light and crash into the car in front of me. That car flipped over twice before coming to a stop on its top. I jumped out of my car and ran towards the car on its top. The girl in the passenger seat was obliviously dead. Her brains were on the pavement. The young guy who had been driving was pinned in the car. His seatbelt was still on and it was jammed shut. I used my pocket knife to cut it off him and was dragging him out when the car exploded. I was not burned but knocked to the ground. We both lay in the street until the police and the ambulance arrived. Bystanders had called 911 and told the police what they had seen. I was checked out and released that night. The next evening, I visited that guy in the hospital. He had a broken arm and 2 broken legs, but otherwise, he was fine. In the room with him was his mother, a very pretty Mexican lady. She explained, "My son was visiting his girlfriend who was a student at the university here in town. They were returning from a movie when the accident happened. He is so lucky you were there to pull him out. If not, he would have been burned alive." She wiped a tear from her eye. We talked for a while, then her son, Ricardo, went to sleep. She invited me to supper at the cafe in the hospital. There were hardly any people there, so we had a private conversation. She told me she had flown up when she got word of the accident. She asked to hear my version of the events. I told her I had seen the car run the red light and stopped to see if I could help. As I ran past the first car, I saw the driver lying on the hood. He was almost decapitated, so I knew he was dead. When I arrived at her son's car, I saw the girl who was in the passenger seat. Her head was crushed and her brains out. I checked and found her son pinned in his seat. I used my Swiss Army knife to cut him loose, then drug him out as the car exploded. She told me his father was in Mexico, and she had told him what had happened. I did wonder why he had not come to the hospital with her, but I did not say anything. Maybe they don't get along. It's none of my business anyway. As I was leaving, she handed me a card and said, "Jack, if you ever need anything, and I mean anything at all, call this number and leave a message saying who you are and how I can get in touch with you. I will call you back. Please, anything at all. His father and I are so thankful for what you did. Rico is our only son." I put the card in my Rolodex at work and never thought of it again. That is until 2 years later when Mr. Hector Antonio Lopez Z, the name on the card, was killed in a joint operation with the Mexican police and the United States Drug Enforcement Agency. It made the national news, and I saw a picture of her. That's right, he was some bigwig in the Rio Bravo drug cartel. I wondered if that number was still working. I had nothing to lose at this point. I dialed it. "Law Offices of William Judd and Associates. How may I direct your call?" "I would like to speak to Maria Lopez," I replied. "Hold the line, please." There was a short pause, then a man's voice said, "Maria is busy at the moment. May I ask who's calling?" I gave him my name, and he asked how she could get back in contact with me. I told him, and he said it would be about an hour before she could return my call. 30 minutes later, she called back. After we exchanged greetings, I asked about Ricardo. "He recovered just fine. He met another girl a couple of years ago and married her. I am expecting my first grandbaby in 2 months. Imagine that. Me a grandmother. And it is all because of what you did that night. Now, Jack, tell me why you are calling and how I can help you." I told her everything. I am sure she heard the tension in my voice when I spoke of my son, Susie cheating, why I could not divorce her, and them wanting to make me a cuckold. Why I told her I did not know. I had never told anybody what was going on in my life, not even my brother. But for some reason, I just unburdened myself to her. She never interrupted me, and when I was finished with my sad story, she gave me a minute, then she spoke. "They will be in San Diego next Wednesday through Sunday?" "Yes, at the Marriott," I answered. "Jack, would you like them to disappear?" she asked. As my redneck brother would say, "It's nut-cutting time." There was silence for maybe 10 seconds. "Yes," I replied. "I'll have them taken care of. We never talked. Understand?" I said, "I understand." The line went dead. On Tuesday, Susie was so excited about her trip that she spent all evening packing and repacking her suitcase. I played with my son. She finally came to bed and offered, so I accepted. One for old time's sake, I figured. I kissed her goodbye on the cheek the next morning as she literally ran to the Uber that was taking her to the airport. I never saw her again. Sunday came and went. Susie was not home. I did get a little nervous, but I think I handled it well. Monday morning, I called her work and asked to speak to her. I was transferred to Mr. Jenkins, the owner, Paul's daddy. Your son and my wife went to San Diego for a conference and they were supposed to be back last night. Where the hell are they? I asked. I have been trying to contact Paul since he did not get home last night. He is not answering his cell. Maybe they decided to stay another day or two. I would not worry about your wife. I am sure she is with him and he will take good care of her. I could almost hear the smirk in his voice. I am sure he will, I replied. I hung up the phone and decided to wait a week or so before I looked for a nanny. 3 weeks later, 2 detectives came to my office. After introductions, they started what felt like an interrogation. Why haven't you filed a missing person report on your wife? She's not missing, that's why. She went to a conference with her boss, Paul Jenkins. I found out that they stayed in the same hotel room at the Marriott in San Diego. I called his father and he told me not to worry, Paul was with her and would take good care of her. So I figured she left me for a rich man. I've been waiting for some process server to show up and hand me divorce papers. I'm stuck with all the bills and caring for our son. Her salary paid the mortgage and the daycare. I'll probably have to sell the house and get an apartment. Did your wife have an insurance policy? Not that I know of. Why? You think she's dead? I replied. Paul Jenkins has $1 million key man policy on his life through the company. His dad has hired a private investigator and an attorney to look into having him declared dead so he can collect on it. What the hell? You think that bastard killed them both to collect on an insurance policy? Maybe people have killed for less. The company is in financial trouble and $1 million cures a lot of problems, they replied. I can't believe this shit. A cheating wife killed with her lover for an insurance policy on him. Sounds like a made-for-TV movie. Please keep me informed of any news in the case. She may be a cheater, but she is my son's mother. They told me they would advise me of any developments in the case and left a card. I contacted them every month for the next year. Paul and Susie were never found. The case went cold. I divorced Susie, and 5 years later I saw in the news that Paul Jenkins was declared legally dead. Jenkins Manufacturing got their $1 million. There are always options. And that's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment below. Your support helps the algorithm push my content further. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me keep creating more stories for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.